LA Galaxy Academy. Welcome. Excited to have you guys here. Also excited to welcome the Cal State Dominguez Hills women's soccer team. Excited you could be with us as well. We know that there's people from AEG, LA Galaxy, and also MLS employees who are joining us via the live stream. We're happy to have you with us as well. Obviously, the conversation around mental health has become a big one, not only in life, but certainly in professional sports. And there are several high-profile athletes who have come out to talk about this, including one of our own, who we get to hear from today, Javier Hernandez. He's a forward with us. This is his third year with the Galaxy, and he talks a lot about the importance of mental health, especially when it comes to being a top athlete. I know everyone knows Javier's resume as it relates to soccer. He's played for some of the biggest clubs in the world, from Chivas in Guadalajara to Manchester United to Real Madrid to Sevilla, and of course the LA Galaxy. He scored over 200 goals in his career for both club and country, and we're excited to have him with us. Getting to know him over the past few years, I knew of his resume before he came here. I certainly knew his reputation, both as a person and as a player. But this subject, I've really grown to have a tremendous amount of respect for him. If you can be proud of somebody that does so much for you, I'm proud of him and proud to associate our great club with a name like Chicharito. Not only for what he does on the field, but for everything that he's stood for off the field. It takes an incredible amount of courage to speak honestly and openly about both your highs and your lows, and I'm excited for you to get to hear a little bit more of that today. We're also excited to have Dr. Armando Gonzalez here with us. Dr. Mondo is the founder and CEO of Cheat Code, a concierge mental wellness program that unlocks athletes, entertainers, and executives' peak mental performance. With a clientele ranging from Lindsey Vonn, Mookie Betts, Ryan Garcia, Daniel Sturridge, Mallory Pugh, and corporate accounts with the NWSL and with the Tennessee Titans, Dr. Mondo has proven the ability to unlock human performance at its highest level. He's also the founder of the Cheat Code Foundation, a nonprofit determined to end the stigma and increase access to transformational mental health services in underserved communities. As with anything, we've had a number of people that have helped us put on today's event. Josh Wadley, Gabe Osolo, Tamala Lewis, Vicky Mercado, Mariah Rodriguez, Candice Luang, Ricardo Ruiz, and Nathan Bell James. Thank you all for your investment and for putting on today's event. We're now excited to welcome today Chicharito, Javier Hernandez. Javier? And joining him in this conversation is Dr. Mondo. Dr. Mondo?
Thank you all for being here today. Everyone give it up one more time for Javier, huh?
For you too.
No, for Javier. I mean, this is, for me, I can tell you, a dream come true on many levels to see two things happening. One is to see our youth in front of us, who are our future, but also to see the stars that they look up to joining them. And so often I think when you're a star, it's easy to hide behind your stardom. It's easy to hide behind an Instagram profile. It's really challenging, and it's a vulnerable thing to actually open up and share some of the struggles you've been through. But to me, when we talk about Mental Health Awareness Month, to move beyond simply having banners to support ending the stigma, the next step is going to be men like Javier, women stepping up, using their star and their platform to share their stories vulnerably. So I'm excited here today because what's going to happen with this today is it's going to invite all of us to examine what our mental health story is, because every single one of us has it. And I'm sure that whether you believe that or not, you probably all believe it after COVID, right? Because pandemic hit everyone hard. If anyone in this room says that their mental health wasn't put under a certain level of stress, I think you might be lying to yourself. The reality is all of us went through it in some way, shape, or form. No one was hit harder, though, than the youth. You know, all of you had to go through things like distance learning, quarantine. Many of you had, big events in your life taken away due to the pandemic. If it was stressful for us adults, I can only imagine what it must be like for our youth. So I'm so excited for you to be here today to hear this message, to hear Javier's story. It was so nice to have that introduction and share a little of my story. I'll tell you, the part that I think is most important for you to know is that I'm a product of a single-parent household, raised by a single-parent mom. My dad was from Mexico, and my dad suffered from bipolar disorder. And unfortunately, because he grew up in a time, especially in Mexico, where it wasn't cool to talk about your mental health. It wasn't cool to get treatment. In fact, you were blacklisted from a family or from a culture or society if you did that. He treated it on his own. He treated it with drinking. And he ended up developing cirrhosis, and he passed away when I was 15 years old. So, people always ask, why do you do this mental health thing? I didn't choose this life chose me. This is something that I'm super passionate about because as a kid, I don't know if anyone else in this room can feel like this, but I had, having a parent with mental health struggles, you always wonder, like, is that going to be me one day? You see some of those things play out, you want answers. So that's where I went to school and studied psychology. And as it was mentioned, now I get to work with athletes. And a lot of athletes come to me because they want to unlock peak performance. We'll talk about that here today. The good news is that all of you are, in terms of your careers as soccer players, you're entering in at the perfect time because we now have hacks, we got cheat codes to help you unlock peak mental performance. And you are going to be the generation that shifts not only a perception of how players get ready for their careers, but also to the lengths they're willing to go to get better. Javier is an athlete that has a story like that, so today I'm excited to chat with him about that. So Javier, enough about me. I'm so curious, man. This is huge because you have lots of teams, you have lots of brands right now talking about mental health, but this is taking the next step with the LA Galaxy and AEG are doing today and what you're doing. Why are you so passionate about this topic of mental health? How did that happen? I know you got a backstory there.
Yes, good afternoon, guys. I'm so happy to be here. First of all, I want to do a very quick introduction as well. Yeah, you probably cannot feel it. I've been in rooms and I've been in talks and I've been in events that are so huge. I would love eventually to get more people about this, but I feel very honored. I'm very happy that I can see you guys here, a part of the cameras that probably this message, because this is not his message, or it's not my message. It's about our lives, and you're gonna figure it out, what you're gonna take from him and from me, because there are no answers, man. About the mental health, it saved my life, mental health. And if you want to put it in other words, it's like the only way to save my life, it was myself, It sounds even very redundant sometimes. Sometimes sounds completely it doesn't make sense. But yeah, mental health, that now it's a subject and we are taking it in that. For me, it goes even so much profound, even of making good performances or peak of performances and deliver like that. It's not even that, it's enjoying them better and more profound, whatever it is. You can enjoy sadness. You can enjoy being frustrated. You can enjoy being anger, even though we know that emotion is very dangerous in this world, because anger, you can hurt someone else. So we need to be responsible and take control of them. So I was thinking before I was coming in that seeing all of you guys here, it's amazing. And probably you can go out and you'll say, this is crazy or he's crazy, and you're gonna figure it out eventually. I think mental health, it's a moment and it's a path that even a person that doesn't want to take their own eyes to them, even life, because all the stories that sometimes, and my granddad, for example, died three years ago. That was important part. Even the people that they don't go and they don't want to see themselves, they always say this story about the when they're about to die, that they say they're alive, they're very grateful, they're more peaceful and stuff, because that was the moment for them, to just connect to themselves. So now that I feel so humble because honestly, guys, and I always say this, and it's not just something to make my feel better. It's like I'm the same as you guys. I have the same dreams as you guys. Probably your dream is about getting to the first division where I am, right? Mine is to win a championship. Mine is to be a better version of myself. I want to be a better dad. I want to be a better human being. So it doesn't matter the age. The age what gives you is more experience about yourself. So my life, when the resume that Chris, that I appreciate a lot, Chris, because this organization, and I say it after my first season, and I think he's like a catalyst as well, himself and the owners as well, but the organization that we did a transition. Now we start talking, a transition that exactly my first season when I came here, in the moment that I was, and it was a coincidence that as well the club, COVID hit and everything, it was just like a synergy that we took so much responsibility of how we're gonna get better, right? But for that, you don't see outside. You need to go to see inside yourself. So I was doing an interview studying about this message, and now to bring more of a conversation, the story, yeah, there's some few points that I can explain to it, but something that I realized and took me to this path is like there's no one answer to it. If we want just to listen, that's my point of view. Though you figure it out and you realize something, just tell me, share it with me, because I want to know and I want to as well feel better, you know. But it's like there's no answer, no one answer. Life is not about like math, you know. It's not about that. So, and if you want to listen, like, and I mean you, like anyone, it's like there's no other way than self-love. And looking at your mental health is self-love, you know?
And I think as we talk, you mentioned too that perspective is so great, right? Yeah. As a man in my late 30s, I relate so much to what you're saying. I could also remember too when I was their age, and we hear these things from people that love us and care about us, and they're trying to give us a heads up, but it's hard until we hit it. What was the moment that hit you in your life where some of what you're sharing now came out of the pain and the brokenness on the other side? What was the moment that really was that rock bottom mental health moment for you?
That I was avoiding being myself for whatever it is, for money, for fame, for be a soccer player, or for be successful.
You were avoiding being yourself.
Being myself.
That is powerful.
I was avoiding it because I didn't knew that I was feeling anxiety until I was 28 years old. That wow. I just realized that, there are emotions, but there are as well, like, I call it, I'm sorry because my English is not my first language, like ramifications sometimes ramifications of different sensations and different emotions. Because it's not the same being excited or nervous than be anxious. It's not the same. How you realize it, feeling it. But I didn't have no one to speak about that. So that's why what I did, it was like, sometimes the answers are of like why I'm feeling this, and sometimes the answers were why I'm not feeling this, right? It's not about happiness. It's just about like, fulfillment. So that's my answer. It's like, I was avoiding it sometimes automatically of not being myself. Because in this society, they tell you why you're going to cry. You're showing weakness, for example.
Right.
But it was completely the opposite. But say my life, it was like, it doesn't make sense. But as much uncomfortable I put myself, even now, I told Nick, if he's here, one of the assistant coach of my club, I was telling, like, because he told me, I'm excited because I want to see you there. And I was like, I'm more nervous there than if you come and watch me playing soccer. You know why? Because I've been playing soccer since my whole life, so I feel more comfortable. But talking and sharing myself, I'm not sharing just something that I study or something that I'm just like memorizing in front of the mirror. I'm just sharing what Javier thinks and what Javier lives and wants to live probably, but as well with the process and with the space to be him, that I can tell you now that I want this and probably tomorrow I don't want that, and that's part of being me too. So yeah, I was just avoiding myself. It wasn't a bad moment actually, because my moment started when I was 27, 28, and I'll let you speak, sorry. It was like chasing a carrot. I got tired of chasing carrots. It's like, go and achieve this, okay, I go, and then what? Like, do that, okay, I go that. Okay, I do it, because I had something in my mind since I was a kid, and there's something that it came with me, that even with my parents, where they told me, you should go to school, but you cannot play soccer when you are at school. And I was like, why not? So I did it, right? Every time that I heard, you cannot, I don't know, it's something in me that it's like, of course, sometimes I cannot, for example, do things, and I won't, but it was like a way of like, why not? Let me just see if I can. And that took me until here with you guys, that of why not? But there was a moment that I was tired, because for me, it was like an ending game that honestly I just came here to just chase a carrot. Like, that's like, there were people telling me really that they love me, telling me, you just came to this world to score goals. And I was like, what? There was a moment I was like, really? So when I'm retired, what? I'm no one then?
Right.
So it was like that type. It wasn't, in that moment, it wasn't a bad moment. It was like, I was feeling the same emptiness. Even if I play World Cups, even if I score as many goals, even if I have the fame, if I met the people, whatever, I was feeling the same emptiness when I was going to bed. Well, for me, it was not the beds. For me, it's the mornings when I feel it most. Always, the whole, still till now. I need to work out with my demons and with my mental health every single morning. There's 99% of the mornings, just to be, because there's no always, there's no forevers. It's like 99% of my mornings, I feel anxiety. For sure, guys, and I need to work it out. So, but I didn't know, because I thought always that I was waking up being nervous, because I'm going to train, or I'm going to leave. It was nervous until I realized that it was anxiety, for example.
And I want to get to in a little bit what you do. We'll talk about that in terms of morning rituals to combat the anxiety. But I think what you said too is so powerful, that sometimes like two things come up. One is we can lose ourselves, and this is a great message for the youth right now too, is we could lose ourselves in the pursuit of goals, right? It's very easy to do. Our society's set up to reward us, applaud us, right?
Yep.
Gain us more followers when we achieve our goals. But if we become slaves to that process, we lose the meaning of what it's all about. Exactly. So it sounds like for you, at your darkest moment, and this is big, again, because a lot of people, when they're in their darkest moment, and I've been there too, I've experienced depression. Some of you even right now may be experiencing this. When you're in your darkest moment, the only voice you often hear is the voice of depression, anxiety, and it speaks things to you that flat out aren't true. Lies that encourage more hopelessness, more loneliness, and we end up giving up on our dreams. We end up giving up on our purpose, on our calling. We also give up on being our true selves. And so I think it's so important to hear what Javier is saying here, is that at the moment, though, when you faced that pain, was the moment that you found not only your true self, but also a bigger calling, a bigger purpose. Who are you today now that you're willing to show the world that maybe you weren't showing the world back then? Because you said that was a big thing, right? Like really being who you are. That's huge.
I'm still, and it touched me because, I'm still in the process to jump and do it more. I'm still, because I haven't done it as much as I would love to do it. To show that I'm a human. And when I mentioned that I'm a human, it's, the parts that I'm not quite, I don't know how to say it in English, but it's like that I accept. I don't love, I'm not proud, but I accept. I have a lot of things in myself that I figured it out. So in another interviews, and as well, sorry, I just want to tell you guys, and I know your age, and I know I'm like a parlante. It's like sometimes I deviate myself of points, and I don't have the talent of a lot of people to like have the conversation in a good way. So for me, it's like in my brain. I just have an ideas and I show it, and if something comes now, I just throw it away. So
are you guys following him? Is he doing good?
If it doesn't make sense, doesn't matter. I hope you stay there.
Hold on. Give him a little feedback here, right? No, really though.
Even your applause, guys, because I'm seeing myself as well, and it doesn't make sense, and sometimes I do that. So I just want to say sorry, but I will keep
we're
just
tracking
throwing
you.
ideas.
Just
I
keep
don't
going,
have like
brother.
stories. I just throw ideas because now I'm gonna go back to another moment, for example, as well. That I speak I speak that something brought me to mental health and self-esteem. That it was like nothing unpleasant and nothing hurtful. No, but then we come back to COVID, for example, because even these words that I can say and even for the press is very difficult. But for example, for me, for Javier, and well, it saved my life. COVID saved my life, actually, guys. And then the death of my grandfather as well. COVID and the death, and the death of my grandfather. It's like if you want to speak about extremes, like being on the peak and don't feeling be myself, I just went to like, there's no other way. And COVID helped in that way because I couldn't get out of my house. Even though that I was with my ex-wife and I was with my kids, it was like plus 5 times the time that I need to spend with myself. So it was like I cannot point fingers. I cannot say whose fault is to feel like I feel. So it was like, man, it was so difficult. It was the first time that I faced the death of someone that I deep and truly love. And what I felt is like, I don't want to stop loving him, but how I'm going to love him if he's not here, right? So it's like, how? And the only answer was when I went to depression, in a way, it was like I was tired of being the character that I was or showing more of that character and when I said this, sometimes people want to take it out of context. I wasn't faking ever in my life. Sometimes I decide to show more things, to show less, but it's still decision. It still me. The situation was that I was done. I was like, it was like a relief of like the death of my grandfather told me like, man, if you don't want to look to yourself, if you don't want to love yourself and you don't want to accept yourself, because all of us here and even my kids and even him, whoever, we have so much things inside ourselves that we are so proud and so much things that we need to control, that we don't want to, not show it, that we don't want to hurt people, that we don't want to say things that are going to make, that is not truly what we feel. When I lose and I'm feeling anger or frustration, I could bend and I could even say things that I don't truly feel. But that process, that consciousness, I call consciousness. I believe in this world is not good and bad. I believe it's the conscious behind the act, because sometimes I could do things to save my kid's life, that probably people could say that that's wrong. But then sometimes the act is not like that. It's the intention behind everything. So, yeah, going through there and the moments that I want to share with you is like in my life, and it's not only because I'm an insane and crazy Gemini, but like those 2 moments I wanted to bring it up, that even in the peaks and even in the lows, you need to face yourself. There's no other way. There's no other way. Oh yeah, it's other way. Numb yourself and live that life, and it's fine. Like there's other ways, but like completely, truly to get to those points, and when this simulation and these games makes about, it's like how I'm gonna get out of there. How I'm gonna perform better. So it's like cleaning. I call it like cleaning myself, right? Cleaning in a way is like your house or your room. Sometimes when you are cleaning, you need to take things and put it in the garbage bin, right? But there are some things that you need to clean, to dust. But the situation with emotions and with things here or traumas is like when you hold, for example, using the example of the room, when you hold something that you want to clean it, when you clean it inside of yourself and your emotions, it feels pain. It's painful. You can cry. You don't want to get there. So sometimes we avoid unpleasant moments to just satisfy ourselves, to have a pleasant, just present, and just pleasure. So I want to be in a comfort zone. So what I did over there, because I am like that as well, is like I just went like an insane person, like all into myself. So I was like, yeah, I want to get out of here. No one is going to help me, and I cannot go out without myself. So how? It's just like I was looking at my environment. I was looking like I was responsible not only of this avatar, and not only about my body, my mental health, or everything. I was responsible of my full reality. So whatever is happening that I'm seeing with my eyes, I am responsible of it. So if I want something to change, Some things takes more time, years, sometimes can change in a day, some things can change in a week, sometimes can change in 50 years. But I am the one responsible to change anything that is happening in my life. So that's why, and I hope, and if not, it's fine. Like, you've been listening as well. Like, you need to accept, like, you are responsible of your reaction of things that happen. For example, the death of my grandfather, but I cannot do nothing. It's just how I'm going to react to it. So whatever it happens with you guys, with your parents, if you don't have parents, or like whatever, managers, teammates, always your reaction, your answer, it's about yourself. So you're always responsible. Even though sometimes it doesn't feel like you can change things, you can change. And the only thing, and another thing that is very difficult for me because I haven't found the words to answer, it's like, how do I know I'm being myself truly and not just, again, being like faking it or being like being like the I don't know how to say it, like being in the same automatic response of, because yeah, of course I'm fine, I'm scoring goals, I'm fine, probably I could be the same again. It's just a feeling. I cannot explain it, guys. It's something that it feels, that it makes sense. I don't know how. Probably you can feel it differently. Probably he can feel different, and everyone feels different. But it's a feeling that it's making sense, but not a feeling of pleasure. So how I realized that with my depression. I realized that feeling and I recognized that. And I'm not chasing that. I'm just living day by day as much decisions as I can, by speaking, by saying yes, by saying no, that it makes sense here, regardless if they are very painful or not.
Do you feel like doing all of this internal work, because you've done the work, right? You've
And I'm
really
still-
done the work.
I'm
Of
still-
course, and the work always continues,
Yeah.
right? Do you feel that it enhanced your game at all on the field by doing it?
Yeah. Chris and everyone here in LA Galaxy can show you the games that I played my first year and the first games of my second year. It's not a coincidence. It's like, yeah, of course it is. Even it's an energy thing. It's a vibe thing. It's a yeah. You can be talking even with someone. No, and not vibe. You're laughing when I say vibe. I'm not do this. You feel like this cool vibe, right? Like cool. No, it's not about that. Vibe and energy. It's about when you are talking with someone. It's not the words that they are saying. It's the energy that they are sending to you. Because they can, and my granddad was a clear example of that. My granddad was the typical Mexican guy that was so humble, so heartful, but he tells you, I love you with like obscene words, right? Like he can tell me, muchacho pendejo. And it was the way of saying, the most deep way of saying, I love you.
There's no
But
translation,
deeply,
by the
guys.
way, no
Yeah, I
subtitles
can-
on this, so we're good.
I
Keep going.
swear, guys, and some laugh and some they don't know. It's like a bad words in a way. So it was the energy. Because then sometimes then I realized, and that's why I've used, and that's why the Mexican and even Latino words, I don't want that to change. It's just the intention, right?
Yeah.
The energy. behind it.
Yeah, and I think that, so this is something that we're seeing too, and again, like this is the invitation for all of you here today in this room, that the same way that you apply yourself to studying the game of soccer, the same way that you lift weights, there should also be the same sort of dedication you make to doing your internal work too. Because Javier's story shows you that, look, if you want to do it for no other reason than to just get the most out of your potential, it will make a difference. Because some of the things that he's mentioned here today, grief stays in your body. Trauma stays in your body. It will affect your ability to move because it stays stuck in your body until you're able to release it as you were able to release it. And also, too, working with so many different athletes, I have found that when you fully become at peace with who you are and you express yourself, full self-expression of who you are, there's only one of you. Just like your DNA code, it's very unique to just you. There's only one of you. And the moment you start really being yourself and stop trying to be someone else that maybe even the world or your parents told you to be, and you really are yourself, you will watch your game go to the next level. And so it's something that's so powerful that you're sharing here today. I want to know, too, just like culture. We talk about, I have lots of family in Mexico that I visit often and have my whole life growing up. it's different over there. We see stigma that exists here in the United States. We also see it in Mexico. What's the stigma like in Mexico around mental health, and do you think it's changing?
Eh, it's still very like rooted in a bad way. I speak not bad way, but in a negative way, because yeah, there's still people that they don't. I mean, I don't know if you. I don't hope not. But in some, for example, just speaking about men, there's some men that are being around my life that I spend a lot of time with them that I haven't seen them cry, for example, right? And it's like they don't need, probably they're not criers because I cry for everything. It's like they could be the opposite, but the crying is just the example of like the how we manage our emotions. So when I was talking about my granddad and cleaning the house, I am nowadays, if it makes me feel something, I recognize it. But to try to recognize it is a habit that I did, like going to the gym, guys. It's discipline, It's discipline. It's and discipline is not something that we all. It's like there, like for example, and I'm gonna be a little bit probably imprudent saying this, but it's like we all admire Kobe Bryant, right? He didn't came to this world with more discipline than any of you guys or any of myself. He created. Simple as that. Like there's no human being better or worse than you. They're different, and there are things that they make each and one of you unique. And they could manage things easier than you. But that doesn't make that you can't. Because it's powerful, but it's true. Even though that I'm not going to reach probably in my soccer career, because I realize this, as successful, you never know. I'm aiming it, you never know. But as successful as Kobe Bryant, you never know. And it's not that I don't want to become no one nowadays. And I chase sometimes like trying to become who? I'm going to become myself. A myself that is going to be proud in the future. That I'm going to be proud now on the future. For example, I said this in the event that I went with Herbalife in Guadalajara, that how do I know in a way, or how do I question it more deeply, I'm doing the things that I love in a way without people and my surroundings telling me. And it was like every week. If in Sunday I wake up on Monday, for example, now we're on Tuesday, right? The Javier of Tuesday, the last Tuesday, will be not proud of like proud guys. It's not about that. It's like what I said I want to start doing it. Last Saturday, I'm doing it now. And I could be like, yes, at least one, at least this percent, right? So yeah, these messages and these talks and all of this that about his question that is very difficult in my country, if it's a stigma or not, it's like I've been nowadays, if someone says something and it bothers me, it's not about him or her that said this, it's the subject. So I'm trying like analyzing, it's like very analytic. It's like, that makes me feel something. Let's figure out first why. So I felt something, sadness. Why sadness and I try to question it. Why could be sadness? Because I love that person so much and he said or she said something that I don't feel or whatever. Or probably she or he can say whatever, but it affects me. It's my responsibility. Why it affects me? Because probably I have something that I haven't figured out in my past. Probably trauma with my sister. Just for example, a trauma with my sister in the past that makes me feel this. So it's like, yeah, I've been very insane inside myself and outside as well, like speaking about soccer and stuff, to just figuring it out what I'm feeling, why I'm feeling it, and how I can not feeling it, how I can make it like
Make peace with it,
like,
yeah.
Exactly, in peace, exactly, peace or heal, or I was trying to find heal, yeah.
And I think with routines, I know we're going to get to some of your questions here in a minute too. In terms of routines and things like that, like I know some of the athletes that I see really committed to this, and I want to hear about yours. They'll journal, and the way that they'll journal is simply get everything out in their mind. We call it brain dump. You just dump everything in your mind out onto the paper and just get it out. Obviously, there's traditional talk therapy. There's also now trauma-informed brain-based therapy like EMDR, brain spotting, where not only can you heal, but you can heal faster. We're seeing people heal in half the time that it took them to heal in the past by doing some of these techniques. So there's so many different things that people could be doing. What's one thing that you like to do in the mornings to encounter some of what's within that may be causing some of that anxiety? What's something you do in the mornings to kind of help get you some peace?
I don't have a morning routine. I should have, probably. I don't. Something that I feel, something that, well, it's now that I'm thinking now that it's kind of a routine, but I don't do it to make me feel myself better or like to that kind of like goal of routine is I make my bed. Hey, guys, I do it like, and yeah, it sounds stupid, sounds easy, sounds like, yeah, but exactly that's how human I am. I make my bed. I could have 20 people to make my bed. Yes, I make my bed. Every morning I want to get out of my room and at least, because we are humans, guys, it's not gonna be perfection, but at least decent and like, okay, it's like everything is in order, like, yeah, everything is it's a mirror of ourselves. Everything that happens in your life. That's why that's something that I do. That doesn't that doesn't take that probably when I make my bed and I go and I try to warm up my breakfast and stuff and I start feeling anxiety, I start crying for some reason. That doesn't take that out. Like, one thing is one and another is another. And sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. The situation here is like, yeah, something that I'm going to share with you guys. It's like I never felt it until the past 3 or 4 years. And look at what I'm going to say, guys. There was a very deep and rooted feeling of like, I don't deserve what I'm having or experiencing or loving. I don't deserve it. And it wasn't about my family. It's not about nothing. It's just about of my environment. That I wasn't feel that I deserved to be Chicharito, for example. That I didn't deserve to play to Manchester United. That's why it took me to my depression. Like, why not? Like, I am me. You know, and I'm not better than no one of you. I am not better or worse or less. I'm just different and unique. And what I'm doing different and unique probably is like I'm an obsessive kind of guy that when he likes something and he wants to do something, he goes crazy and he goes full on. Full on. That's something of my personality. Whatever it is, like, I go and I want to go. So,
including your healing journey,
yeah, of
which
course,
is amazing.
exactly.
Once
Yeah.
you decided that you needed to
sure.
heal, you leaned into that.
Yeah. So sorry, guys, about the answer of the routine. I don't have a morning routine, guys. The only thing that I'm doing is like, again, it's very internal. It's like recognize how I feel. Ask myself how I feel. What am I feeling? So what I'm feeling the anxious. Why? So when you recognize things inside yourself, they like dilute it in a way. If it feels like this, the anxiety, when it recognizes the one stuff, they go like this straight away, just for recognizing it. Not even taking action, not even taking a decision. Just recognizing that I'm feeling anxious is like, but why? Because probably, okay, because, well, I'm going to share one for you guys all here. My anxiety of this morning that it was a realization and it went down. I haven't scored in 4 games. I was feeling the anxious and stuff, like even making like, I need to train more, I need to do more, I need to, and then I was like
Just sit with it.
Just
acknowledge it and
feel
sit
it,
with it.
acknowledge it. And even now, I'm doing it like that. And it's like deep. It's like, honestly, I believe it and I know it. It's going to get better. And I say that, not even the scoring goals. I just put it an example. It's going to get better. I have something as well very inside that I miss my kids, for example. So you never know. It's because probably the message yesterday that I received from someone, like, guys, yeah, you are like, whatever you want to achieve, whatever you want to live, whatever you want to experience, it depends completely on yourself. So treat yourself like the product, your car, your most valuable resource, your most valuable and loving place. Love yourself, accept yourself as well. Criticize yourself, like I do it sometimes when I don't feel like I feel, and when I say something that I feel that they didn't match, like I told you before, they didn't match. Like, yes, man, it's like I'm very pro, and sometimes I oversay it, like stick with you, follow yourself, like, but it's about yourself, guys. And it sounds very arrogant that society wants to tell you as well, like, for example, love others and put everything in service. And it's like, yes, completely, and I agree, and I'm trying to do it now. But it comes from those mornings that I spend with myself alone, and I make the work. And if I did the work that I should, then it's easier for me to help others. If not, I cannot help no one, not even my kids, you know.
It's powerful. I know we got questions out here in the audience. So this is your opportunity right now. Anything that you've heard, anything that you want to ask, it could be completely related to what we were talking about. It could be completely off topic. But I want to hear from some folks here in the audience. So we're going to have the microphone come around. Who's got a question for Javier? Come on. Don't be shy. There we go. Someone in the back. Yeah.
Thank you for talking to us today. How did your mentality change when you became a pro?
Thank you for your time too. And actually, man, it didn't change most. It didn't change. It was just like things were getting more complicated, like not easier, and that's the beauty of it. It's like now I'm playing with pros, so it's more difficult. But my mentality was always like, yeah, the routine, the discipline, the habits that I was doing them, and as well figuring out how, of course, like I said it before, if I want to become like someone, no, I want to become someone. I want to become like, in a way, something. What is he doing? You know, that I'm probably not doing. And there were players, I promise you, that I shared a locker room and a team with, that I was seeing them, that they were doing something that it was great. It was great. But it wasn't me. I didn't want to do exactly what they were doing. But instead, I focused in things that I was like, no, this is gonna make me better. Like, oh, this look, I'm not doing this. For example, it happens, like, I'm not resting well, properly, probably. If I'm sleeping, for example, 7 hours, let me try to sleep 8 hours, no? Or if I'm trying to do this, let me try, like, it's always figuring it out without hurting no one. But as well now, because one thing is telling you something obscene to you, that I'm hurting you with even intention, and sometimes people feel hurt if I tell them, I'm so sorry, I don't want to talk with you now. I don't want to. Like, I prefer to spend time doing something else. I'm sorry, right? And they feel hurt. What? That's self-love too. That's knowing myself, that I prefer to spend that time doing this because it takes more from me. Not only for be a pro, to be a better version of myself. Because the mindset is not about being a pro, guys. And whoever teach you, because my dad did it as well, and it's not a mistake, but whoever teach you that you are a different kind of guy inside the field and you're another one outside, no, you're the same guy. Different versions and different parts.
Love that.
So that's why my mentality is not that it didn't change. It's not like, yeah, sometimes, because it happens even to me, sometimes you can receive a call before a match that makes you chaotic inside, and you need probably to put on hold that, because you need to perform, right? So it's on hold, but on hold, guys. Don't forget it. It's on hold. I do the work, whatever I need to do, but then I need to press play again and then feel it. That's what I do, and that's what I didn't do in the past, because those on holds became of like things under the carpet, right? I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. And then they were there always. So when I faced them, they were like this. Like I always said it, cleaning the room, again, the example that I'm a little bit obscene with that. If you clean your room or you clean your house at least, guys, 5 minutes per day, instead of making and saying, oh, on Sundays I'll do it. Yeah, on Sundays you spend 4 hours of your time cleaning your house. And it could be 1 hour on Sundays because you did 5 minutes every single day. That's discipline, that's habits. That's what Kobe Bryant has been telling all of us. It's like, just do it. And something that I want to finish, because it's a good phrase that I'm putting to my life, is like, life is easy. No, life is simple, but it's not easy. Life is simple, but it's not easy.
And making it simple, like you're making it too, with that analogy of just checking in for 5
Yes.
minutes with ourselves to
It's
understand what it is we're
But
feeling.
it's not easy.
trying to find time just to make time for therapy or make time to talking to a loved one about how you're feeling. That makes a huge difference.
Or hard conversations with your beloved ones, because sometimes that's what we're avoiding. It's very good to say, I love you, mom, I love you, mom, I love you, I miss you, blah, blah. But sometimes when I'm telling you, mom, I'm feeling this, mom, I think we could have a better relationship if or mom, I feel that you're overstepping, or mom, I think like I don't feel you, I would miss my mom. Like, I'm just putting examples, guys. Like that's what I mean. You don't need to have I always say you don't need to be Chicharito, Cristiano Ronaldo, or Messi to touch the universe and to feel the fulfillment, guys. The growth is it's next to you, guys. Even with your teammates, if you need to have hard conversations or inspire people, like come on, or even you feel uncomfortable, like you need a hug or you need to hug someone, like show love, like whatever it is, man. You don't need to have this platform. So this, you don't need to be here. You're being there. You're making the questions, but you do your work, you do your universe, and you do your world. It doesn't matter. We're the same, guys. We're the same. I'm just have 33 years old, and I've been doing this for longer time than you guys, so that's it. Yeah.
We got more time for questions. Yeah, one more question, it looks like. Yeah. Let's get this out here. We got someone right over here.
First of all,
Yeah, good.
first of all, thank you for talking to us about this. I think it's something very important for all of us. I have a question. Something that I struggle with myself is how do you deal with like a poor performance, or how do you feel after like a bad game, and
That's a
how do
great
you
question.
bounce back from that?
Okay. Thank you for sharing that, man.
Great question. Yeah.
Great question. I accepted that it was a bad game, that it was a bad performance. I accepted. But do I want that to repeat the next game? No, right? So what I should do? What's next? Like, it's done, right? That doesn't mean that I'm not feeling what I'm feeling. Guys, remember. And I want to put that in words because I sometimes when I was listening that in the past, it means okay, and I'm very like, you tell me what I do and I'm going to do it 100%. So it's like, guys, feelings and emotions are still there. Acceptance, it's like, okay, it happened already. I cannot change it anymore. I play shit. I play terrible. I play terrible and whatever. Okay. Then, accepting that, like again I said it dilutes everything, and it seems that it's easier to get better, and it's going to get better. But then I take responsibility of like, honestly, with those feelings, like, your conscious tells you, your conscious knows that, yeah, man, you probably gained 2 more hours than you should on Wednesday, and of course that matters. And probably I didn't make the 5-meter run that I should in that game. Just a 5-meter run. Yeah, it matters. Everything matters, right? So I just try to accept it, that I'm going to have good and bad games. But I always tell this to myself, look, when I score a hat trick or whatever, it's not as good as it seems. And when I miss a chance like I missed it in Austin, and probably, well, we won, but imagine that we lost and stuff, it's not as bad as it seems. It's not. You know why? I laugh because it's true, but of course it's a stupid example I want to say. I'm not going to bed with the goal that I score, or like it's just me. It's like me with my underwear sleeping, and it doesn't matter.
3 goals, no
Whatever
goals. That's how you're going to bed.
You have in your bank, whatever you have in your fame, whatever you score or not, you go to bed. But the beauty of it, that's why it's like I feel the anxious on the mornings. It's because my soul, myself is telling you like, hey, you want it, no? You want to go over there. You want to climb that mountain. You want to do it. Do you have the balls to do it? Do you have the character to do it? That's my ego. Like, show it now. It's very easy to you guys telling you all of this, and probably words and theory is always easier. But practice, man. That's when showtime. Every single morning. That's why I want to share my life in that sense, because it's the same when the referee whistles that when I wake up and deal with my anxiety. It has the same importance, guys. The same importance. The same. They're different Ones are easier, ones are different. It's just difference. Life is about differences. It's not that, yeah, it could be more complicated, less complicated. So what I do is, not all of this is more simple for me because I have a habit. But how I realized it, it was questioning. It was like that, just accepting, like, I have a bad game. It's not the fault of no one. I could have done better. And since that morning when I wake up and deal with my anxiety and when I make my bed, the change is starting.
That's the reset button.
That's the reset in a way. Yeah.
And I think that's so good to know when you look at an athlete's brain when they're going through a slump. Often what happens is that they lose themselves in that one performance. They try to do things to adjust their performance, which takes them further away from being themselves, further away from their intuition. And then before you know it, the cycle just continues and continues. So I think having some mechanism, even if it's a meditation at night, using the Calm app, whatever it is, to just clear the hard drive, clean up the room a little bit, turn the page, look at it and go, what can I do differently, but not get lost so much in the meaning of just one bad game and what that means about you, remembering who you are, and that's very important. Do we have time for another question?
Yes,
or,
we have time. Yes, we have. Plenty
we've
of
never-
time. I just tell them that we have time.
He
Yeah,
said
because
we have
sometimes
time, so we have time for more
Something that I'm going to
questions.
share, guys, because I'm having fun. I'm having a great time on this event, and I'm talking. So why we cannot? If you all like, we can go longer. I like it if you want to. If not, we say no, and we call it a night, and then I'll leave. But I'm having fun. I'm enjoying the subject, and I like it. So I'm telling Vicky, like, well, my time is fine. Don't worry, because we're getting to that time that I should go. But it's fine for me.
Maybe you could have like related to this maybe last year or previous years, but like how do you deal with the injuries?
Oof, man. Injuries and health physically, I think it's an emotion that you are not like, that you forget in a way. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I got my injury in my calf because I was not putting attention to a sadness. It's not like that illogic, right? But I think your body, if you cough a lot, if you have whatever it is, it's telling you it's an emotion, guys. It's connected. It's an emotion, and it's not like needs sadness. This is anger. No, it's not about that. It's. Remember this that I said it, guys. You are not responsible. No, you are not only responsible of your life. You are responsible of your reality, guys. So in my mind, I make this happen. Why? Even though that I didn't want it to. Why? It's happening, first of all, because I believe everything is a process. Everything. If I score 3 goals, it's a process for something. If I miss a goal, it's a process for something. If I'm right now feeling sad and it feels hurtful, it's a process for something. If I hug my kids and they kiss me, it's a process for something. So it's like I believe, and it makes sense in my life, that there's no destiny, there's no place to arrive. So it's a constant work. So if if you don't want to work with yourself or you don't want to do that, what you're doing in this life, it sounds very even disrespectful, but it's true. It's like, but we all are here. We receive whatever we receive, and we're trying to do the best. But we all went with traumas. We all went with hurtful past and hurtful situations. We all are lacking about some stuff, and we all want to achieve something. All of us, regardless what it is, even if it's spirituality. So with injuries, it's like my body was telling me something. Something that I cannot share publicly yet. Something what happened, and it was true. It was my body telling me, like, you need to chill the fuck out. But here, guys, you know my body, how I made it in my reality? Like, you cannot play. So for 100%, everything is going to be more chill. Because you have out what you love most. It's like chill. Like, I did it unconsciously. So dealing with injuries, it's like, again, accept it. Now, what I could have done better, not as a guilty, if not as a very healthy and proactive criticism, like, why could have? And then, why I can do better. Because now, because it's very paradoxical. Remember that I told you that I was tired of like chasing the carrot, right? Like goals. But then, for example, it doesn't make sense because I'm gonna say that I'm gonna say something that it means that I was chasing the carrot, but it's from where it's coming. It's like now the goal is like recover as quick as I can, and get back not as I was. No. better than I was. It's an opportunity. Everything is an opportunity. If I'm injured, like the conversation that you need to have with your parents sometimes, it's an opportunity. Everything is opportunities, whatever it is. This is an opportunity. You daring to make a question is an opportunity if you dare. Listening is an opportunity. You are making opportunities of your reality constantly.
Yeah, it's that the meaning we attach to it. And I think, too, you bring up the fact that there is a mind, body, spirit connection. And like you said, it's hard to really say what specifically causes injuries. But one thing I can tell you for certain is that, when I work with athletes and they're coming back from an injury, they become physically ready in some instances before they become mentally ready. Because again, your body's trying to protect you. So when you get out to make a quick cut, if you're recovering, say, from a knee injury, it's more likely that even though the doctor might say your knee's healthy, you can make the cut, mentally and emotionally, there's a part that you have to heal from the injury because your body's telling you to protect yourself. So again, those are things I hope that you take that knowledge now and you put forth the effort. Then I hope we start doing better. I think as a world to provide support when someone heals, not only physically but also emotionally. But those are things to kind of keep in mind. Do we have time for one more? Or is that, yeah? What do you think? I'm seeing a yes. We got, okay, I think this is it, though. This is the final question for Javier. So who has it?
Hello. Thank
Hi.
you for speaking to us today. I have two things, just one to share and then a question.
Okay.
So I just want to share that, like, for you guys, all emotions are valid, like, no matter how small or how big they are.
Love
Like,
that.
especially because you guys are men and, like, it's a stigma. Like, men can't have emotions, men can't share, like, what they feel. But just know all emotions are valid and you're entitled to what you're feeling, no matter how big or small it is. And then my second question is, like, going back to culture-wise, like, me as in my parents, like, they don't really understand mental health, or, like, when I was going through it, like, they're just like, oh, you're fine, like, keep on going. But, like, to you as your parents, how did you get them to, like, understand that?
You know what? And that's fine, because remember, guys, that our parents, our grandparents, and all the chain, they did the best what they have. Like, I always give this example that it's going to even make me cry, like you, for example. How I'm going to ask my dad, for example, to provide me with mental health conversations when he was surviving, when he was working to try to get food into his mouth to survive? How? It's just, again, acceptance, guys. They did the best as they can. Like, we all can do better, yes, but that's what I realized. Like, I shouldn't depend of no one to make me happy. So I need to create the environment that I'm going to be happy first, so I share happiness with people. And I don't even like happiness, because for myself, I think happiness is just an emotion and a state of mind, that it's fulfillment. Fulfillment. Of course, it's better if my mother comes and gives me a hug. The day could be better, right? We all gonna accept it, right? It could be better. But what happens if you don't have that? You still have yourself. What happened with the people that they don't have parents? How they did it? Wow. But they did it, right? What happened because my granddad is not here? So that's why the mental health and the self-love, and into your question, is like acceptance as well. They're different and they live different moments, and they should, even though as I am a believer that, for example, with my kids, I am the one to need to keep the pace of them if I want to have a good relationship with them. That's something that I realized it, because times change. Or even like our parents, if they are who they are, let's love them who they are. Then, I don't know, you heal that you lack, that they didn't give you. But as well, I think you can see the glass half full, right? Your parents, I mean, I'm a parent. I could give my life for my kids as well. So they are trying to do their best, like you all are trying to do their best, like I am trying to do my best. Everyone is trying to do their best, because there's always gap to improvement. That's obviously. But about our parents, you need to to accept them. It's very difficult, but you need to accept them. That's the situation that as much as I stop pointing fingers that because my mother didn't love me in this way, because my dad didn't love me because, and I was like, yeah. Because as well, I have the responsibility of deciding what I receive and what I don't receive as well. Because people think about giving, and I do, but what you accept of yourself, that's your responsibility too, as well. And there's some other subjects very, 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 that are even illegal and some very dangerous that you can do things and don't take it wrong. It's like always what is happening to you, what you receive, what you're taking it, why you are doing it. You are responsible of yourself. You are responsible. Our parents didn't came to this world, I believe, to make our lives easier or to just like solve everything from me. No, it's completely the opposite. They came to live their own life, and they decided to have us, and I came to a country that I didn't even choose, that I love, that is Mexico, and speaking, and I'm just like, I'm just getting everything that I'm getting and doing the best way as I can, as like they did it. I think so. And like, yeah, there's no answer for that. It's like, yeah, sometimes, yeah, you need to accept as well that probably these conversations, probably I cannot have them with my dad, but I have another ones that they are as spiritual and as a profound, because I believe everything is spirituality. Everything is spirituality. Everything is light. Everything is God. Everything it is. Why a person who, for example, why one of these guys, for example, look at them, because we always criticize these people, right? Look at one of these guys, but then they dress like me, and they say these things. They change. They're not humble enough. Like in my society, specifically in Mexico, and I think with you and your background as well, it's like you can be successful, but in a certain way. Because if you overpass successful, I don't like it. I don't like it. It's like, why? Right? It's like, in this world, it's like, as much successful you are, as more constricted you should be. Even the artists, we want everyone to like, they cannot even go and have a coffee. Imagine Justin Bieber trying to go to a coffee. We all be trying to get a picture of him, and he's a human being, and he wants just to live, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what I mean about the example of that I'm doing it like that big. It's like, we all are human beings, and probably these conversations you're not going to find them with your parents, but you can find them with your friends, with your partner, with your mentors, with your coaches, with your teammates.
I think that's important to point to, and I appreciate you sharing both questions and that first part too, about all emotions being valid is very important for us to be reminded and to hear. Because we do make rules about certain emotions that we say, I can feel that, but I can't feel that, right? Yeah. And then that becomes a block to us. The other side, too, is I think, to Javier's point, like I think it's both, right? Like I think on one hand, it is about getting to a point of accepting your parents' limitations. And it's also, though, about part of that self-love is saying, and I still deserve that, right? I still deserve that. And watching how life will put those people in your life to play roles that your parents couldn't fill, whether that's a safe landing spot, someone that can show you love and acceptance regardless of what you feel, and give you a space to speak that truth. I think being open to those people that are in your life and using them, even if they're not your blood parents, they still play a huge role. I know for me, in my life, that was a huge thing.
But as well, I believe what you said, that they feel it, because your parents gives you and shows you things, and as well they make you lack of things. That's an answer too, guys. What my parents didn't give me, that made me realize that I want it. Thank you. You didn't give me to, thank you for showing me that. How I will know that? Like we again, and I feel sometimes it happens that we want to, like, this spirituality, it needs always to sound like still like a Disney like subject, Disney story in a way, you know. Like, for example, yeah, my parents, for example, my mother wasn't never like very like love with physical contact, but it was completely the opposite. You know why? Because it was 4 a.m. in the morning and she needs to wake up to help me, she was gonna be there. If she needs to tell me, Javi, you are not doing it like you should be doing it, you could be a better version of yourself, that's as well love. But remember that no one is perfect. So if you accept yourself there, that you are not perfect, and you are lacking of things the same as your parents, that you are lacking things about anyone else, you'll see that the things that people do to you, they come like, no, they don't do it to you. They're just being themselves. And that's why it's your choice to be around them or not anymore. And that's why there are authorities. If someone is hurting you in a bad way, hopefully the authorities can come and help you if you don't want to be with someone else. But that's your option as well. So as well, self-love is accepting the people that is not perfect. And they shouldn't be in the way that I have it here. Why? The only human in this room that it shouldn't be in certain way is myself. In the way that I think. Because then of you, I don't want to change you. I shouldn't have to change you. Or you should, man, why are you looking at me like this? You shouldn't look at me like, like, Mom, why you didn't kiss me in the cheek when I needed? Well, I'm not right now, but like, it's life, man. Like, again, I'm going to put you the examples. How people who can't even imagine, it's so difficult, but so powerful. Like, people who came to this world without parents. Like, they came to this world, obviously, but then their parents died or they didn't want the kids or whatever. How they did it. I don't know if someone of you have that story, but how they did it, right? So this idea of, like, expecting, emotional stuff from someone else, I think that's why the conscious behind the act, and I want to put it there because, as well, I know myself. There are things that even now with my partner or with my friends, they're going to receive from me. But there are things that they are not going to receive from me. Because I'm going to just be me. And that doesn't allows them to criticize me as a good or bad friend. Because I'm doing my best and I'm being me. But what, I should be perfect in your head? So to be a good friend? That's why the narrative, speaking of friends or something like that, we like to qualify people. You give me 3 things, but not 2? Okay, you have a 7. You are a good friend. Right? Why? That comes as well and goes around that with the self-love and the mental health, if you take care of yourself and if you accept yourself and you give you more and more love and you depend less of your fulfillment of people and goals and stuff, that's the paradox of life. Then those things are going to come, man. When you let this famous phrase, you let go and things come, right? It doesn't make sense. You shouldn't be grabbing to having, right? That's the logic. That's the logic. If I want to feel the love of someone, I need to grab him and keep it here. Love me, like, okay, certainty. But you don't realize that you are not receiving what you wanted. Because then when you let go, and you let go and you feel, then the universe is conspiring and telling you, you deserve that. And how? I don't know. And I swear, that's why I'm not scoring these 4 last games. I'm going to share it with you because I've been keeping way more in my mind, like I want, and it's not happening. And then I swear, guys, when I don't think about scoring goals, and I just go there, and what I say is like jump, run, like a MF, like just run crazy, give everything for your team, play soccer, and then the goals come like that, guys. Goals comes like that. It's not that I'm like obsessed. I'm gonna score 3. I'm gonna score 3. And if someone works for that, cool, it works for you. For me, it's different, right? So that I want to make sure about that because it's and I feel sometimes about these messages, and I want you to make clear as well. It's like for light to exist, it needs to be shadows. So the lack of things that I didn't have with my parents, that was as well the most love thing that my parents did to me to show me that they didn't give me that. And I needed to. But I'm not going to receive it from you. So thank you too. Like, thank you. Because you're showing me, like, that's what I'm trying to do with my kids, the best version of myself. But no one is the perfect father, and no one is the perfect mother, and it never going to exist. We all feel our parents are the best ones, regardless, right? We all do. But they're not going to be. And now that you are a parent, you realize that. Like, it's like, yeah, and your kids are going to live their own life. And when they have their kids, they're going to keep doing the same things. We need to be ourselves and fulfill ourselves of ourselves. Sorry that I keep it, but that's the only thing that makes sense. And then, by consequence, everything else adds to your life. Don't fulfill you. Adds to your life. Mm-hmm. Friendships adds to your life. Partners adds to your life. my sport, my job adds, you guys adds to my life. But I swear again, the example, I'm gonna say, oh, this Chicharito repeats a lot of these things, this Javier. But again, I'm gonna go to bed tonight, and I am the one knowing if I'm like, today was a great day. I know what I could do better or not, but like, this is the life that I want to live. Yeah, it's going in that way that I want. Okay, perfect. Good night. And good night. That's it, guys. Regardless of what happened today or not happening, because that's who I'm gonna sleep forever.
And I know that message is for them, but I also hope it's for you that tonight, when you lay your head down tonight, Javier, for you, that you realize that what you're doing today is groundbreaking. You're sitting here today.
I hope so.
You're sitting here
not for
today.
me,
You're
I swear,
sharing your
guys.
story.
And guys, I'm sorry to interrupt you. And I hope so, not because I want that to happen for I don't want the credit, guys. And I swear I don't want the credit. I grew up in a place that the system keep telling you that just 2 or 3 guys can make it, right? Why cannot be millions or billions? Because it comes from a self-love. Like, it comes from the change within ourselves. It's like, yeah, a lot of people there, and they were brave enough to live the life they wanted to live, regardless of the consequences that sometimes are not very pleasant. Yeah, most of the times they're not very pleasant. Sorry to interrupt you, but I hope these things keep happening, not for me taking the credit, and I believe, I can feel it, not even for him. It's just like, yeah, it doesn't matter who's here. It's the world what is happening, that we want you guys, and I would love, when I was your age, to have these talks and see people talking about this.
Yeah, and this is it. We're by having events like this, and we want to thank AEG today for making this happen. We want to thank the LA Galaxy. I want to thank you, Javier, for sharing your story. But yeah, I think the big takeaway here today is that we need to see less talking just about ending stigma and more telling of our stories. If any of you get in a point where you feel like there's no hope, but remember that the monologues in your head are always going to have negative conclusions when you keep that to yourself. When you have dialogue with someone that loves you, that cares about you, there's always hope. And we all have a reason why we're here, and there's always a reason to keep living. So I want to thank everyone for having us, and I give a big hand for Javier. Amazing story. Again, thank you to AEG, thank you to LA Galaxy, and I also want to see if we can get everyone up for a group photo before we end this here today, and then you can all get a chance to say hello to Javier. So everyone come on up.
So what, remove the chairs?